Hey guys, we're getting really close to Halloween. We're in October now, and I thought we'd check out something super duper special. This is a one-of-a-kind mask from a company called Severed Head Studios that only really produced 4 masks, and none of them were actually for sale. So this is a company that was very early on. So nowadays, like, there's a lot of these Facebook groups, and you can find a lot of information on silicone mask making and stuff pretty rapidly. Back in the MySpace days, in the before times, in the long ago, there was something called the Night Owl Forums. And in the Night Owl Forums, that is where we would congregate and we'd talk about horror movie props, we'd post build photos, and we'd show some things. And that's when I first heard about silicone masks. And a couple of my very first masks were brokered through deals on the Night Owl Forums. There was companies that were very popular in selling special effects kits and teaching one how to be an amateur mask maker. Monster Makers, of course, is the big one that everyone thinks of, but the other one was a place called Brick in the Yard Mold Supply, and they are awesome. Big shout out to those guys. I will link their stuff in the comments, but not only did they sell silicone and silicone mask making supplies, they had some videos on how you yourself could make a silicone mask, basically pouring gel-ton silicone onto a head form. So Severed Head Studios put out a couple of masks in that style. Severed Head Studios, they were basically focused on making costumes on a commission basis, and they basically eventually became Mandible Effects, and then their owner went to dental school and stopped the effects nonsense. But I thought we would check out a mask that I actually created back probably 20 years ago now for my Jason Voorhees costume. Now, we have been looking at high quality silicone masks from the top companies like Immortal, CFX, Real Flesh, Shattered Effects, and many others, and many more to come. This is not up to that standard. So be warned, but let's check them out up close. All right, so let's dive in. I want you to think back to Jason Takes Manhattan, Part 8, and the reveal of Jason as a toxic sludge zombie in that movie. That is probably where Jason looks at his worst, not the effects, but just like skin slushing off and very, decayed, waterlogged. That's sort of what we were going for here. Now, the hawk, of course, is not silicone, and that is not something I made. But let's do the reveal. Oh yeah, so it's rough. It looks almost like early Toxic Avengers is kind of what I think it is. It's kind of like Toxie, but in a different color palette. Now, what this was is I had a head form, and I actually did the head form. A lot of people have done the head forms when making this mask. That was a head form of like one of the sculpting ones, like that CFX sells. I actually did one on head form that I created of my head. So this actually fits my head, my facial shape pretty well. This is, basically what I look like. Let's be real. And we just poured the silicone on there, and I did 2 layers. I did like a fleshy layer like this, and then I did this gray matted layer. And then I went back and I built up kind of just some strands. I did this head wound, which, I mean, everything on this mask is rough, but I'm going to say, like, the head wound thing doesn't look terrible. It kind of, you get the point. He's got a wound there, right? What is terrible is how I cut these eye holes, but I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, but yeah, this is just basically a pour on a head form and then cut it out. The thickness, of course, as a result, is not uniform. I think there's some areas where there's actually getting some wear through marks. We'll probably find them. There's one. Yeah, I was going to say somewhere on there, so you can see the jaw a little bit. A part of that is from age. Part of that is from the silicone is probably just really thin in that area because it's kind of like a little undercut area, right? So just probably not enough silicone got there. I ended up doing about 4 of these masks, and in material costs, like, I think it cost me about $80 to make. The other masks, and I guess we'll call it this series, and I don't know that I'll ever show you the other ones or anything, I don't think look as good. So I hate to say it, but this is the best of my work. But again, I was making this at the time. There was not a silicone Jason hood on the market. That wasn't a thing. I had a couple latex hoods. I have a big head. They were tight. They were uncomfortable. I didn't love them. This feels a lot better on my face. I could go back and clean up these eye holes a little bit better, but you know, they work for my purposes there. And underneath the hawk, this guy doesn't look too shabby. What do you say we check out some movement? This is the Severed Head Studios, you know, Jason Voorhees style mask here. Here's kind of it, and you know, even taking it off that armature that it's on, you know, there's several areas where there's holes in the silicone. There's no extra mesh, there's no reinforcement of any kind anywhere, so that's just from taking the mask on and off. Now, again, we have looked at some really high quality, awesome looking masks, and this one doesn't really stack up to those. However, it's made to be worn under a hood, and I'm usually wearing this Halloween, nighttime events, haunted house stuff, and I've entered and won a ton of costume contests using this mask. So I mean, it's, you know, even though it's rudimentary, it does the trick. You know, I think if I was to go back knowing, you know, some different stuff that I know about silicone and things now, I could make a better one, but I'm not, you know, I'm not making masks. You know, I'll, if I want to get a better one, there's some great companies. I believe both CFX and Immortal offer a hood style, you know, Jason, so it has a face cutout, so it's made to wear a hawk over it, that looks a lot better than this. And then there's a lot of different masks that you can get, ones that kind of look like, you know, an inbred hillbilly if you're going for, you know, Jason in that era, or ones that are more zombie. I believe Shattered Effects makes, or used to make, the Jason Takes Manhattan Part 8 mask if you want to go for that exact look. I'm going to be as careful as I can putting this guy on. Again, 20 years old, you know, put this thing on many times, and you know, it is showing age there. And I've got a big head, so I'm finding kind of areas that are hopefully the thickest, and we will put that on, line it up to my face the best we can. Yeah, there we go. Now, as I was saying, this was made off of a form for my head, and I think my head 20 years ago and my head now is probably the same. One would think. So I feel like it fits well. I've got like where it lines up to my lips. There is no additional like lip cupping or things like that. And you can see, you know, the eyes are not great, but it, you know, it looks like a decaying corpse flesh a little bit, and that's kind of what we're going for. Give the spin. The wound, why I did that is, this is my favorite Jason Hawk. You know what? I could tell you, but tell me in the comments what part this is, and I will give some respect to the winner of that. But I wanted to line up that wound with the crack in the hawk. So, you know, there it is. There is my Jason, you know, silicone mask hood here. It works really well for this. I, you know, can lumber, I can tilt, I can come at you, and I think it works well. I do not do usually a reveal of the face because I don't think the reveal is worth it when this is the silicone face that I have underneath. But this works really well for this costume, I think. And speaking of the costume, let's check that out. So this is my Jason Voorhees mask and hood combo here. The mask is a silicone mask that I made back in the day, and the hood, everything on this costume I have done something to. So this is a pull from a Part 8 mask, so that gives it away. Jason Takes Manhattan. I kind of love the yellowed look, but I really think the best Jason is Part 7, which is why I have the exposed skeleton bits. I have other bits and pieces, like I have a little bone there, but I've got another, like a brake that can pop out here. I've got like a screwdriver thing that sticks out of a leg. All sorts of different things. I think it's fun to have the noose on here. The noose is something that I learned to do when I was in Boy Scouts. Just is to tie a noose. It is an actual noose, So the thing that I didn't realize the first time that I tied it is inevitably someone will grab this and it gets really tight. And, you know, it's not something that if I think I'm going to go somewhere where someone might pull on that, I don't wear it. But otherwise, I think it's a good look. The mask, what I was trying to do with the eyebrow, or the eyes, is to have this kind of close partially one eye and look like a little droopy eyebrow type thing. That is a look from the earlier iterations of Jason. So that's what I was going for. It sort of works, but the closer that you get to it, I think the worse that it looks there. But, you know, from this range, and again, wearing this at night, Halloween, you know, coming into people. I think it looks pretty good. Secret to Jason is the same secret to Dean Winchester in Supernatural. Wear 3 shirts. So I've got an undershirt, then I've got the skeleton shirt, an overshirt of that, and the jacket. That kind of bulks me out in different ways, and it allows me to lumber more. Also, usually when I wear this costume, I wear platform boots that are very similar to the ones in Freddy vs. Jason. So they'll give me another 6 inches. I'm naturally 6'3", so that brings me to about 6'9", and that's pretty intimidating. Also, they're a little harder to walk in, so I get like this, you know, lumber. And I prefer the Kane Hodder style of Jason, so things move in sequence. So I move my legs, and then if I'm gonna see something, I turn the head, I turn the shoulders, and then I turn the body, and that gives a lot of slow, kind of lumbering, you know, evil Jason persona. I've walked down and, you know, scared a lot of people in a lot of different type of haunt situations with this. This is a knife. It is actually like a Chinese broadsword, but it just makes for a giant machete, and I like it. Most of the prop machetes that I had ended about there, and I think getting this one that's just so big and the spines on the back works really well for the character. And this is light in a prop. Several of the machetes I had were basically just blunted actual machetes, and then a couple foam ones, but the foam ones always seem too thick. So this one being a plastic, I think works really well. And this is from some unnamed movie, but I got it at a prop store auction. So here is my Jason. Again, that is a silicone mask made by me. Not the best looking mask in the world, but I think for under this hawk, it works really well. Works really good for Halloween and Friday the 13th. So now I just need to find me Freddy Krueger.